Next topic, the successive approximation type ADC. So this is one of the best converter which we are having, which is having good speed as well as good resolution also. Uh, as I told in the beginning of the classes, so the successive approximation type ADC, it will be using 3 or 4 components together, and it is going to give almost the accurate value of the given input signal. So here you can see that it is having a 4-bit successive approximation register, which is going to take the comparator input, and it is going to keep on approximating the values which is equivalent to analog input value until the values which are generated in the successive approximation register, that is SAR, is equal to the analog input value. It will be keep on computing it. So once its value is equal to analog input value, then only it is going to give the output. Along with that, we are having a comparator. As you know that this comparator is going to compare the given two input signals, and it is going to give the corresponding output. The output of this comparator will be considered to generate um, the successive bits or serial datas with respect to the given input signal. And we are having a 4-bit DAC, digital to analog converter, and also we are having a 4-bit latch. As you know, latch is also a type of flip-flop. So may I know what is the difference between latch and flip-flop? What is the difference between latch and the flip-flop? Both works in the same way, but there is some difference between latch and flip-flop.
So latch doesn't have a
Doesn't
clock.
have clock signal.
So latch doesn't have a clock, but
Hmm.
clubs have clock.
Okay, good. So what it will have then? It is not having clock means what it will be having?
So just the input, sir.
It's the input. Okay. Uh, Anybody else with the answer? Yes, as he told, it's correct. So latch doesn't have a clock signal. It is just going to have an enable signal. So you can see here, it is having enable input. So whenever this enable input is high, during that time, the latch will be turned on and it will start working. But whenever this enable signal is 0 or it is at lower level, that is disabled, during that time latch will also be disabled. So whatever the output it has given for the previous and previous state, that only will be retained. It is not going to change the output. So it is just like having set and reset both as 0. So it will be retaining its previous state. So the main difference between the latch and the flip flop is latch doesn't have a, it doesn't require a clock signal, but flip flop requires a clock signal. So this is the 4-bit latch we are having. As you know that latch or a flip flop is a 1-bit memory element. So it can store 1 bit. Since we are going to approximate 4 bits, so we are converting the given input signal into 4 equivalent bits. So that's why we are using four latches. So we call it as 4-bit latch. And finally, we are going to get the output. Along with that, we are going to have one more 4-bit DAC. Even though it is ADC, analog to digital converter, here we are using DAC, digital to analog converter, because we are using a comparator which will be keep on comparing the present signal with the previous signal. So based on present and the previous values, only this comparator output is going to change. The previous values are already, yes, any doubt? Okay. Previous values are already given out by the SAR, but that needs to be considered to generate the new values or the new input values. So for that purpose, we are again converting that digital signals which are generated by the SAR back to analog signal, and we are going to give it to the comparator in the form of VA. So this is the previous signal value we are having, and this is the present signal value we are having. So this is what the overall structure we are having. Here the serial data output pin is available, and we are having start conversion and conversion complete. So when the start conversion is given high, during that time, this SAR starts converting the given input signal to its digital output. When this conversion complete is going to go high, during that time it indicates that the conversion is completed. So when the conversion is completed, during that time you can see that this 4-bit latch is enabled. So during that time it is going to give the digital output. So until that, because it should not give the output until the SAR is going to approximate the digital values which are equivalent to the analog input. Once the SAR is going to approximate the digital inputs which are almost equal to the given analog input, then only this latch has to give the output. If it is going to keep on giving the outputs, because it will be keep on approximating at each level, for that it is going to use a tree conversion process, which we'll be discussing now. So it will be at every instant or every clock pulse, it will be getting different values. So in order to overcome that error, because if it is keep on giving the output, that will be considered as the equivalent of analog input. So it has to just give the exact value or the final value. For that purpose, it is being connected to the conversion complete. Once the conversion complete is going to high, during that time, this latch will be enabled and it is going to give the converted digital output. And at the same time, you can see that the input to this 4-bit latch is taken out through these lines, and the same input lines are fed to the DAC. So again, this DAC is going to convert it into analog form. Again, the conversion process is going to takes place. So until the given input signal is completely converted into digital format, this process will be keep on continuing. So let us to understand the working of this, and for this SAR we need a clock signal. Whenever the clock signal goes high, so during that time this SAR is going to be activated and it is going to start the conversion process. That means for every clock pulse, for every conversion at each stage, a clock pulse is necessary. If it wants to go from one state to the next state, then a clock pulse is raising clock pulse is necessary. Along with that, start conversion process is also necessary. Now, coming to the tree diagram, where we are going to understand how it actually it's going to convert. Okay. So at the beginning, let us take some input 10000. So I can take any input. but this is the input which we are going to take, such that we are going to get in a proper hierarchy. So starting from 0 to 15. So it will be keep on, you will be getting in a proper order. So this is the input. Let us consider 1000 and which is given out here, and here we are having two levels. If it is going in the upward direction, then it indicates that input is greater than the previous value. VA is the previous value which is given by the DAC. If input is less than VA, then it is going to the lower level. So this is the tree conversion process we are going to use. So now let us consider 1000 and start comparing. If 1000, this 1000 is being given to the SAR. See, all this conversion process, whatever we have written, this entire thing will be taking place inside the SAR. So SAR will be keep on uh, uh, converting the values based upon the comparison which is given by the comparator. So now the comparator is going to tell that V in is greater than VA. During that time, see 10000 you are having. The next bit will also be made high. So the present value is 1000. The next value will also be increased. Suppose if this is not true, that is the input voltage is lesser than VA. So during that time, the present value will be made 0. See, present value means 1. 1 is the present value we are having, the MSB value. So that MSB will be made 0, and the next lower level bit will be made as 1. Here, the present value will be retained. Present value is 1. The present MSB value is 1. That will be retained as it is. Along with that, the next bit will also be made high. So it was 1000. Now it is 1100. If this is not true, you can see that here it is retained. 1 is retained. Here that 1 is made as 0, but the next bit is made as 1 to check whether this will holds good or not. Here also we came to know that V in is greater than 1000. That's why to increase the level, to check the level, what we do is we are going to retain the present value, as we came to know that input is greater than this. So obviously the equivalent value of input should be greater than this. So obviously you should not change that MSB value. So along with the MSB value, the next bit is made high, and again we are going to compare. Now again we are going to compare. So see, now this becomes the present value, and it is going to compare with the input. So if input is greater, so if the input is greater than VA, so during that time it is going to this level. If input is lesser, then it is going to this level. Next, again you can see that the 1100 we are having, again here 1110 we are having. So the present values will be retained, and the previous next value will be made as high. Just a minute. You just change this as this way. Okay, you can do it in this way also, but since to have an uniformity, greater, smaller, we can have this one. Or if you do in the other way also, you'll be getting the same output. It depends upon how you are going to consider, because we are giving the input to the inverting terminal. So if you have confusion, what you can do is all the higher values you make it as greater and all the lower values you make it as lesser. Okay, you can just make it in this way, or you can just go with the whatever it was printed previously. Okay, if you have confusion, you can make the upper values as greater, lower values as smaller. This is greater, this is smaller. Okay, so it is left to your option, whichever you feel comfortable, you can go with that. So now 1100 we are having. So as I have taken V in is greater than VA, and I have just to have uniformity, I have considered all the upper values are indicate upper values in the sense the this one, the tree which is going upwards, so that the branch which is going upwards, that is considered as V in is high. For the branch which is going downwards, in that case, we consider V in is less than VA. Again, here also, the branch which is going upwards is the condition where we are taking V in is greater than VA. The branch which is going downwards, we are going to consider V in less than VA. Now 1100 we are having, and if the input value is still greater than 1100, what we will do is we are going to again increase the next bit and we are going to check. If the input is lesser than the present this value, then what we do is we are going to make the bit which we made as high in the previous state. Now that value we are going to make it as 0, and the next bit we are going to make it as 1, and again the process continues. Here also the process continues. Now suppose if again this is, as I told, the upper branch we consider V in is greater, the lower branch we consider V in is lesser. Suppose V in is greater than this value, obviously, as you know that if it is greater, we have to retain the present values. If it is smaller, then we have to reset the present value and we have to change the next value. So now 111 will come. So this is what the maximum value which we can have, since it is a 4-bit ADC. Suppose input is lesser than this value, then what we do is we are going to make the value which we changed in the previous state. See, this is the value which we changed in the previous state. That value we are going to make it as 0, and the present value we are going to make it as 1. Again, coming to this 1111, next again we'll check. If suppose input is greater, then the same value will be retained. If input is smaller compared to the value which is been approximated, then we are going to make, see, this was the bit which we made it as high in the previous state. That value we are going to make it as 0. Since we don't have any next bit, this will be the final value. Coming to this, those are not followed, you can at least now follow. 1010 we are having. Now if the input is greater, then we have to change, we have to make we have to increase the value. So what we do is we are going to make this 0 as 1. If the input is lesser than this, then we have to reduce this value. So what we do is we are going to make the next value as 1, but the present value as 0. After this, again we'll check. Suppose if even after doing this, input is greater compared to this value, then what we do is we have to retain the same value because we have already passed all the 4 bits. If the present value is lesser compared the input value, the input is lesser compared to the approximated value, then we have to make the latest changed bit as 0. Here also again I start from this 0100 we are having. So now if input is considered to be high during that time, 0 1, instead of the next bit as 0, we'll take it as 1. Since the input is considered to be high, that indicates the input is greater than this. So we are going to make the next bit 1. If the input is less than this value, its value is less than this, then we are going to make the present bit as 0 and the next bit as 1, and again the comparison process continues. Coming to this 0 1 1 0, we are having again the conversions comparison here. This upper branch indicates that the present value whatever we have obtained is lesser compared to the input value. So that's why we are going to make the next bit also as 1. If the converted value is greater than the input value, then the latest bit which we made it as 1, that will be made as 0, and the next bit will be made as 1. So this is the process which we are going to do. And again, in the next level, we are going to consider that the upper going, because the branch indicates that the present value is smaller compared to the input, and since we are having this the maximum value, we'll stop it here. If the converted value is lesser than the Vin, then the present bit which we changed, the latest bit which we changed, that we are going to make it as 0 and we are going to stop. So the same process will be initiated here. This is how the successive approximation type ADC works. If you have any doubts, you can ask me. Okay. Sukad? Sukad, are you there? Hello? Sukad, are you there? Okay, Kirtana, are you there?
Yes, sir.
Can you explain this conversion process?
Yes, sir. One second. So initially, during the first clock pulse, the SAR will be made 1000, sir. Then later, an analog signal will be provided. If that input signal will be greater, and then the comparator output will be high, sir. And if it's less, then the comparator output will be low.
Take one example and keep explaining that branch.
Yes, sir. One second. So let us give an example 1000. If that was greater than VA, then I'm not sure with that thing, sir, except that part.
Which one?
The conversion process.
That's why I asked. Any doubt? You didn't open up. Anybody can explain this?
Sir, I can try, sir.
Okay.
Yeah. So when we give an input, like say that's 1000, it'll check if it's greater than VA or if it's lesser than VA. If VN is greater than VA, the first bit will remain like that only, but the second bit will be increased.
Okay.
Similarly, if VN is lesser than VA, the first bit is decreased. So if it's 1, it's 0, and the second bit will be increased. Similarly, the process keeps on continuing until the last bit can be changed. That is, it happens 4 times.
Okay, good.
Yes.
So this is how it is going to work, I'll just tell it once. We have considered 1 0 0 0, and whenever we talk about the bits, you should not call it as 1000. It is 1 0 0 0 because 1000 is a decimal value. This is a binary value. We should not tell it as 1000. It is 1 0 0 0. So individually we need to call because this is not equal to 1000. If you tell it is 1000, it is not equal to 1000. It is what is the value of this? Equivalent value of this? 8, right? 8. So you should not call it as 1000. Always have this practice. So you should call it as 1000. Now, if they present this value is lesser than input value, then the present higher MSB value will be retained as it is, and the next bit will be made as high. If this is greater compared to the input, then the present MSB value, which is high, that will be made it as made as 0, and the next bit will be made as high. And again here 1 1 0 0 we are having. Suppose input is again greater than this, then the next bit also will be made high. If the input is lesser than this, then the present higher value will be made it as 0, and the next bit will be made as 1. Again now 1110 we are having. If the present value, which is the input value, is greater than this converted value, then the next bit will also be made as high. If the input is lesser than this, then the latest bit which was changed is made as 0, and the next bit will be made as 1. Again this goes to the next level, and if input is higher than this, then this will be retained and that will be made as final value. If input is lesser than this, then the latest bit which was changed, that will be made as 0, and this will be the final value. So this is how it is going to work. So this is about the converters, A to D converter, D to A converters. Next is the precision rectifiers. We have already studied about rectifiers in the basic electronics and all, but here in this we are going to construct a rectifier using an op-amp such that the diode will be acting like an ideal diode and rectifier will also be acting like ideal rectifier. So may I know what do you mean by ideal diode? Anybody?
Ideal diode is a diode with no internal potential difference of 0.7 or 0.3 volts.
Yes, good. So it is a diode which is having no voltage drop. That 0.3 or 0.7 will not be there, so that the output will be getting the output even from the lower level, that is 0.1, 0.2 and all. But if you are going to take a practical diode, so it is going to give the output only when the input is going to be greater than 0.3 or 0.7 based upon what kind of diode you are using. Now, let us take up the first type, precision half wave rectifier. Precision half wave rectifier. So this is the first type we are having. Okay. So in the precision half wave rectifier, you can see that you are going to use an op-amp as usual, plus VCC minus VE, and we are giving the input to the non-inverting terminal. So obviously the output will not be the inverted type of input. So output and input will be having 0 degree phase difference, or we can tell output and input will be in phase. So here, when the input is given to the non-inverting terminal, and you can observe that the inverting terminal is directly given to the output without any feedback resistance. So this will be acting like a voltage follower. Since it is not having any feedback resistance, obviously it will not add any gain. It is just going to output and input will be same. Whatever the input you are giving, the same output will be coming. But since you are using a diode here, only during forward bias condition of the diode, you will be getting the output. Under reverse bias condition of the diode, you will be not getting the output. Let us see how it works. During positive half cycle, this is the positive cycle and this is the negative cycle. During positive half cycle, here, since the non-inverting terminal is given with the input, output will also be positive. Since we are giving positive half cycle, output will also be positive, such that the diode will be forward biased. When diode is forward biased, this signal, whatever we are getting across the op-amp, that will be passing through to the load resistance, and we are going to get the output. So this is the positive half cycle which we are getting. During negative half cycle, you can observe here, during negative half cycle, this portion, since you are giving it to the non-inverting terminal, the output will also be negative. When the output is negative, as you can see that output negative terminal is given to the diode, during that time automatically this diode becomes reverse biased, and when it is reverse biased, we know that it is going to act like open circuit. When it is acting like open circuit, no signal will flow through the diode, since it is going to offer highest the resistance. Now you can see that this dotted line indicates that negative half cycle is missing out. So, and we are getting only the positive half cycle. This is the output which is similar to that of a half-wave rectifier, which we have studied, considering a transformer, all those things. Half-wave rectifier is a rectifier which is going to rectify only the half of the cycle. See, here we are rectifying the positive half cycle and we are getting the output. Suppose if you are going to make this diode in an inverted, in an opposite direction, like this, instead of like the, you can make it in this direction. During that time, what happens? Let us see. When the positive cycle is given, the output will be positive. Whenever you give the positive terminal or positive voltage to the negative terminal, diode will be again reverse biased and open circuited, so that the positive half cycle will be 0. Whenever you are going to give negative half cycle to this, the output will also be negative. So when negative voltage is given to the negative terminal of the diode, automatically diode will get forward bias. Because of that, output we are going to get, the output portion we are going to get at the output. Okay, so the negative part will be rectified at the output and the positive part will be 0. This is how the precision rectifier is going to work. Since we are going to use the op-amp and all, this is going to turn on the diode below its drop in voltage or cut in voltage. It will not allow the diode to it will not wait the diode to get forward bias until the input crosses the forward voltage drop. So by using the precision rectifiers, we can avoid the cut in voltage loss, whatever we are going to suffer in our normal rectifier. So here the advantage of this one is it is having an ability to rectify even a very small voltage which is lesser than 0.7 volt. And if you want to amplify the signal, what we can do, we can just add some resistors here and here. You can add some resistor when you add some resistor, automatically it is going to add gain, right? Because since it is non-inverting op amp, when you are adding two resistors to it, and you will make it to ground. So this is R1, R2. So now this entire portion will behave whenever the diode is forward bias. During that time, this entire portion will behave as a non-inverting op amp. So in non-inverting op amp, we know that it is going to give some gain. So during that time, output will be equal to Vi into 1 plus R2 by R1. So the gain will be added to the input. So the output will be the amplified version of the input. The output is not only the rectified version, it is also the amplified version. Rectification plus amplification both can be done using precision half wave rectifiers. And here there is one problem. If you are going to if the op amp is going out of saturation, so it is going to limit the frequency response. As you know that plus VCC and minus VE, the saturable property which we have already discussed. So if the op amp goes to saturation automatically, or the output goes to saturation automatically, the frequency response will be affected, because when it goes to saturation level, so the signal starts getting clipped off. When the signal starts getting clipped off, during that time the frequency response will also be affected. To overcome this, we are going to use a non-saturating op amp. So there are two things: saturating and non-saturating half wave rectifier. So in non-saturating half wave rectifiers, we will be using one more diode in the feedback part that we are going to study next. So before that, if you are going to use actually this is a saturating type half wave rectifier. In this saturating type half wave rectifier, if I want to add some gain, I don't want only the rectification process to happen. Even I want to have an amplification process to happen. So during that time, we'll go with this circuit. This is also saturating type half wave precision half wave rectifier, but you can see that instead of having just the short circuit which we had in our previous circuit, so it was having just a short circuit which was connected like this. Here we are having R1, R2. So again, two resistors, and whatever the output voltage we are going to get here, that will be appearing across this node. So because of this, if you want to add any gain, so if you just consider this portion, and assume that diode is forward biased, tell me which circuit this does this resembles?
Voltage divider, sir.
Voltage divider. Okay, so I'm just telling diode is forward bias, and you are having this.
It's a half wave rectifier.
Of your rectifier. Okay. There are some circuits which you have studied in your basic electronics. There were some 7 to 8 applications. In that 7 to 8 application, okay, let me give a hint. So do you remember which circuit is it?
Non-inverting amplifier, sir.
Yes, it's a non-inverting amplifier. Just compare this non-inverting amplifier with this. That structure with this structure. There is any similarity?
Yes, sir.
Similarity, right? Positive terminal is given input. Yes, here positive terminal is given. Negative terminal is given with R1, R2. Yes, negative terminal is given with R1, R2. So this is going to behave as a non-inverting amplifier. This is going to behave as a non-inverting amplifier whenever we are going to make the diode forward biased. Okay, so from this we understand we can have a gain of 1 plus R1 by R2. So this is the gain formula for non-inverting amplifier. This is the gain formula for the non-inverting amplifier. So whenever an input signal is given, positive half cycle is been given to the non-inverting terminal, during that time the output will be positive. When output is positive, the diode will get forward biased. When diode gets forward biased, during that time this is going to act as a short circuit. Along with that, because of the presence of R1, R2, this acts as a feedback. R1 acts as a feedback resistance and R2 acts as a input to the inverting terminal. Because of the presence of these two, this op-amp will add some gain of 1 plus R1 by R2 to the given input signal. So the given input signal will not only be appearing across Vi, it will be appearing along with some gain R1 by R2, Vi into R1, 1 plus Rn by R2. So that you can see this is this shape and this shape. What do you observe in this two? What is the change which you observe in these two?
It's amplified, sir.
Yeah, output is amplified version of the input. This is because of 1 plus R1 by R2, which is the gain which is given by the feedback path. So this is how you can rectify as well as add some gain. Whenever the input signal is negative, during that time the output goes to negative and the diode will be reverse biased. When diode is reverse biased, we know that it acts like open circuit such that there will be no output. So output will be 0. So this dotted line indicates the output is missing in this portion. Okay, so this is how a half-wave rectifier works. After this, we are having a non-saturating half-wave rectifier, where problems on non-saturating half-wave rectifier will also be asked, so that we can do it in the next class.